From overdosing after a lifetime of trauma to a forgotten surgical tube rotting inside a patient. These are the most terrifying My 600-Pound Life moments. Starting with Season 7's Destiny Lachey, the first transgender participant who took her own life by a fatal overdose. She was born as Matthew to a teen mom in a biracial relationship, but her mother's racist family disowned them, which set a tone of negativity from the very start.
I had a lot of issues going on growing up. I just always felt rejected. Never felt like I belonged anywhere.
After Destiny's foster mom passed away, she and her foster siblings were split up and sent to different homes. Soon after, the father she'd only just met for the first time also died.
I'm losing everybody else. I don't have nobody, didn't have anybody.
She got shamed by her family after coming out as gay in her teens, and later as transsexual, except by her mom, who eventually accepted her. But she had never felt more isolated in her life. The ultimate nightmare struck when her brother Anthony, after a minor surgery, developed a blood clot and died from an aneurysm.
And when they couldn't save him, I just tried to kill myself because I just wanted to go join them.
Destiny held him as he died in her arms. This triggered a suicide attempt, landing her in a mental facility where she battled urges to self-harm.
I feel like maybe if I would have woke him up earlier, he wouldn't have passed away.
On the show, with Dr. Now's help, she lost over 200 pounds, qualified for surgery, and post-show shed nearly 500. But here's where it gets absolutely terrifying. Behind the scenes, producers allegedly manipulated her, forcing a face-shaving scene that triggered a breakdown. She threatened suicide and kicked them out. But it was not made part of the show because of how painful it was for her. Not only did the company return for filming, but they also threatened Destiny with reducing payments for her gastric sleeve surgery. The lawsuit also claimed that Megalomedia only provided one therapy session, that too so they could script it for the show. Destiny's depression eventually overwhelmed her, and in February 2022, her brother confirmed she had died by overdose. And while Destiny's tragedy stemmed from emotional pain, the next story nearly ended in death on the operating table itself. Henry Foots from Season 1's 700-pound body betrayed him mid-procedure. As doctors fought to restart his heart in panic. With a high school reunion looming, Henry stuck to the 1,000-calorie diet religiously, dropping enough weight to qualify for gastric bypass. The surgery went smoothly, that is, until the skin removal follow-up.
Spotting factor are totally abnormal. We need to look inside and see if anything is there.
Henry was bleeding internally, which meant that he was slowly going into shock.
You have to pouring blood from right side. Left side is dry, right side.
Somebody is so unstable that he's going to go into shock.
In an emergency, he was taken to the OR, where Dr. Now stitched up his chest and put him back together. When he came back to, what he revealed was nerve-wracking.
I flatlined.
Henry had actually flatlined during surgery.
That's all right, like. It's just like having an out-of-body experience.
But this wasn't the only medical scare Henry had. In 2012, Henry passed out while driving, and he ended up hitting a woman on the road. He survived the crash, but unfortunately, just a year later, he passed away at the age of 55 after achieving his weight loss goal. His cause of death was not specified, but it was not related to the weight loss journey. But Henry wasn't the only patient whose fight for a second chance nearly ended on the operating table. Another life hung by a thread when Candy Dryer's surgery took a terrifying turn. Twins Brandy and Candy began their weight loss journey together. And after Brandy's successful bypass, it was finally Candy's turn.
I've also gone over EKG result and your heart is looking much better. I think you're ready for weight loss surgery. So I'm approving you today.
Dr. Now had already told the twins that Candy's heart was weak, and going through a surgery like this will have complications. But no one expected how terrifying things would get.
But we need to give you a little bit more time and make sure your heart is as healthy as it can be before you're ready for surgery.
Hours after surgery, Candy complained of a headache, and while walking with Brandy, her health suddenly got worse right after sitting back down.
You feel nauseous?
Did he? It was a combination of both.
Just an hour later, the worst happened. Candy's heart had stopped.
What's wrong with my sister?
Immediately rushed to the ICU, Dr. Now explained that Candy had suffered a pulmonary embolism, followed by cardiac arrest. And to save her, she had to be put in a medically induced coma.
So in order to prevent organ failure and brain damage, I placed her in a medically induced coma.
Candy remained in a coma for a whole week recovering. That's when Dr. Now decided to wake her up and see if brain damage was a concern.
You feeling okay now? Can you move your feet? All right.
Miraculously enough, the threat was over, and Candy had woken up with no damage to the brain. Candy walked away with a second chance. Lacey Buckingham scammed her boyfriend's disability money for food binges, and then proceeded to call the police on him.
Woman, you don't even know what you just did.
While on the way to Dr. Now's, Lacey got into a clash with her boyfriend's sister, Sharon.
I'm not trying to.
You trying to fake cry right now
I'm
next to me.
overcome with emotion. I don't want to lose Ricky. Okay?
Yeah, well, yeah, lying.
Not only had Lacey lied about sticking to Dr. Now's diet, but she even lied about being approved for surgery. So when Sharon found out, she crashed out hard.
You want your it will be at the U-Haul place.
So Ricky broke up with her right then and there. In a messed up turn of events, they both decided to ditch her at the gas station.
John, if there's a gas station, bro, you're getting left at Temple, Texas.
That's when Lacey did something completely out of pocket. She dialed 911 and told the cops that her boyfriend Ricky was abusing her.
And she decided to call the police department and say we were all trying to hurt her, or in my case, she tried to blame me for abusing her.
But if you thought Lacey's relationship dynamics are terrible, you haven't seen Stephen Asante and his family yet. If you don't know who Stephen is, you're lucky. From bullying nurses, demanding pizza, and tormenting his brother Justin, also a patient under Dr. Now, he was deemed the worst patient in the show's history.
I'm gonna put you in jail if you raise your voice for and in here.
He was not only addicted to food, but to pain medication as well. Going to the ER 5 times in a month and taking thousands of medicines, he was completely dependent.
You have received tramadol, 1,045 tablet, hydrocodone, 970 tablet.
But what really put his addiction into perspective was when he was forced by his father to meet his brother, Justin, after surgery, who was on pain meds himself, still recovering.
But after Stephen left, I noticed my painkillers they sent me home were gone. And he didn't care about what it would do to me.
So when Justin confronts him about his cheap tricks, this is what he had to say.
Hey, John, you still abusing the drugs?
I don't know what you're talking about, and go yourself.
Perfect.
Flat out denied the theft. But here's the part that'll make your head spin. Instead of holding Stephen accountable, the dad turned on Justin, blaming him for the whole mess, even though it was Stephen who took the pills.
I mean, you high right now? You want to buy some of my drugs like you've been trying to do?
Why you starting is right.
Not only that, but the father was such a pathological enabler that he was secretly giving Stephen Justin's medication behind his back.
Yeah, how about you tell them how many pills you use?
Gave him 10 of them.
Yeah, whose pills were they?
Yours.
And while Stephen was busy terrorizing everyone around him, Gene's story hits a whole different level of horror. The kind that makes you want to barf your lunch. Gene from season 7 lived in the filthiest conditions ever. Overrun by 9 dogs and a crap ton of clutter, her portable toilet was right next to her bed.
Because I've become such a burden to them.
And get this, it was also the place where she ate her food. At her first checkup, Gene complained about a sore on her inner thigh, but peeling back her clothes revealed horror. Dead flesh mixed with dried feces.
Oh, this really looked bad. Very badly infected.
After the surgery, during cleaning of her wound, things took another terrifying turn. The wound was leaking pools of blood.
You would always been bleeding that much?
No, it's never bled this much.
This required emergency care any later, and the infection could have spread to her bloodstream and become fatal.
But with how bad it is, I think it would have been a month or two before the infection got in her bloodstream and killed her.
Gene's story was horrifying enough, but Sean's pushes the limits of what the human body and a hospital bed can handle. This guy was so heavy that the hospital equipment was completely useless.
The fact that he's still somewhat mobile is probably the only reason he's still alive.
At 919 pounds, Sean was one of the heaviest patients ever been on the show, and the scary part is, he gained even more soon after.
Sean is so big right now, he cannot make it to the waiting room door.
Sean was completely bedbound and dependent on his mother for massive meals. And her mother basically invented the term enabling, feeding him 2,500 calories per day when he should be taking 800.
The last calories that I was trying to get him at was approximately 2,500 a day. We were 2,500 a day, yeah.
He was admitted to the hospital and lost enough weight to qualify for surgery. But horrifyingly, once discharged and back under his mother's care, he slipped right back into his old habits, eating double the amount he was supposed to be eating.
Truthfully, we're probably hitting closer to 1,400 to 1,500 calories a day, and sometimes even a little more than that.
After the show, his mother passed away from renal failure, and only 2 weeks later, Sean joined her after failing to recover from an infection.
This past month, things got really bad because my mother passed away.
At 29, he was the youngest person to die on the show. And while Sean's story ended in tragedy, James King's took things even further, into a state of suffering only a few can imagine. James' health was in such a terrible state that he would soil the sheets repeatedly, lying in the filth for hours as it seeped into his skin folds.
Go slow, Mom.
Now that looks painful. Laying in his own poop for hours bred bacteria in his skin and created painful leg bubbles filled with pus. What began as red swollen patches escalated to severe cellulitis.
But just looking at him, you can tell that he's in pretty bad state. His cellulitis is out of control.
Even though James had been given multiple chances to get fixed and work on himself, it was no use. He had completely given up on himself.
Because there's no point in trying to stop right now.
Sometimes it feels like my dad cares more about the food than it does his own family. And the path that my dad is on right now is headed towards death. There's nowhere else it could be headed towards.
He was suffering from a number of diseases which included sepsis, liver cirrhosis, kidney failure, high blood pressure, leg infections, anemia, and cellulitis. His body couldn't take it anymore, and he ultimately passed away from kidney failure. His condition was so painful that even his loved ones were at ease to know he's no longer suffering. The worst part was that his death was entirely avoidable. Dr. Now had warned him and his wife beforehand, but they didn't listen. James's suffering marked one of the darkest endings in the show's history. For more stories that shook my 600-pound life to its core, watch the next video on your screen. You won't regret it.